I never thought my own brother would be the one to splash cold reality across my face. But there he was, glass in hand, eyes blazing like he'd finally cracked the code to my fractured existence. "How long are you going to live this lie?" "Naomi," he snarled, the words slicing deeper than the water that trickled down my cheeks, soaking into the collar of a blouse that wasn't even mine. In that instant, as forks clattered and my mother's gasp echoed off the wallpapered walls of our childhood home in suburban Chicago, I knew the charade was crumbling, and my revenge, the one I'd been plotting in the shadows of this stolen skin, was about to ignite. It started 6 months earlier, on a sweltering July night in downtown Detroit, where the air hung heavy with the stink of the river and unfulfilled dreams. I'd been Naomi Hargrove, then 38, mid-level accountant at Sterling Dynamics, a powerhouse auto parts firm that greased the wheels of half the Midwest's assembly lines. My life was a neat ledger, stable marriage to Derek, the golden boy VP who'd charmed his way up the corporate ladder, a cozy split level in Grosse Pointe with a golden retriever named Max, weekend barbecues where I'd grill brats and pretend not to notice how Derek's eyes lingered on my best friend, Lila, when she laughed too loud at his jokes. Betrayal? It was woven into the fabric of our world, subtle as the rust creeping along the undercarriages of those Fords rolling off the line.
But mine?
It hit like a recall notice from hell. That night, Derek called me into his corner office after hours, the city skyline glittering like fool's gold beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. "Babe, we need to talk," he said, his tie loosened just enough to scream vulnerability. Lila was there too, perched on the edge of his desk in that red pencil skirt she knew I hated, her blonde bob framing a face that screamed Midwestern innocence. They laid it out like a pitch deck, embezzlement. Millions siphoned from the R&D slush fund to bankroll Derek's side hustle, a shady EV battery startup with ties to some Chinese suppliers that smelled like sanctions violations from a mile away. I'd signed off on the transfers, rubber stamping them during a flu-induced haze, trusting my husband implicitly. "It was a mistake," Derek pleaded, his hand on my knee, voice cracking with that actor's timbre he'd honed in community theater. "But the auditors are closing in. If it traces back, prison."
Naomi.
"For all of us." I laughed then, a hollow bark that echoed off the glass. "Us. You mean me." Because that's how it always played out in America. Land of the free and home of the framed, the little guy takes the fall. They had the alibis, the offshore accounts, the lawyers on speed dial. I had a mortgage and a therapy copay. But Lila,
Oh.
she had the twist, the real knife in the gut. "We can fix this," she whispered, her eyes gleaming with that sorority sister sympathy. "There's a way out. Sterling's got this. Program. Experimental. Off the books." Turns out, the company had been dabbling in neural tech, courtesy of a DARPA grant gone rogue, consciousness transference. Not some sci-fi swap meet, but a desperate Hail Mary for terminal patients, uploading minds to fresh bodies via a cocktail of nanites and electromagnetic pulses. Ethical?
Hell no. Legal?
Buried under NDAs thicker than a GM union contract. They pitched it as salvation. Swap my mind into the body of Evelyn Voss, a comatose heiress from the Voss automotive dynasty, brain dead from a car accident that reeked of cover-up. Her shell was perfect, wealthy, untraceable, with a trust fund that could swallow audits whole. I'd disappear as Naomi, the embezzler, presumed drowned in the Detroit River after a staged breakdown. Derek and Lila? They'd mourn me publicly, rake in sympathy promotions, and sail off into their sunset of ill-gotten gains. It's not forever, Derek lied, kissing my forehead like I was already a ghost. Just until the heat dies down. Then we reverse it. But I saw the hunger in their eyes, the power grab, the secret they'd bury with my old life. Betrayal so deep it tasted like the arsenic in those old flint pipes. The procedure happened in a sterile sub-basement lab, fluorescent hum buzzing like angry hornets. Strapped to a gurney, for drip cold in my vein, I watched Lila's face blur through the haze of sedatives. For us, Naomi, she murmured, her hand squeezing mine, a Judas grip. Then blackness, a whirlpool of memories fracturing like safety glass, my wedding vows, Max's sloppy kisses. The first time Derek whispered, "I love you" on a Lake Michigan pier. When I woke, it was to the scent of Chanel No. 5 and the weight of Evelyn's manicured nails digging into starch sheets. Mirror confirmed it. High cheekbones, ash blonde waves, eyes like polished jade. Evelyn Voss, 29 and flawless, staring back at a 40-something soul who'd just lost everything. The first weeks were a fevered dream of adaptation. Evelyn's penthouse overlooking the Renaissance Center felt like a cage of marble and malice, floor-to-ceiling views of a city that chewed up dreamers and spat out husks. Her staff called me Miss Voss, their deference a balm and a barb. I learned her rhythms, yoga at dawn in a private studio, board meetings where I'd nod through jargon about torque vectors and supply chain disruptions, evenings nursing scotch neat while scrolling Derek's Insta, him and Lila, arm in arm at galas, captions dripping with blessed. The official story? Naomi Hargrove had cracked under pressure, jumped from the Ambassador Bridge. Body never found. But the headline screamed, "Tragic fall of Detroit ex-wife." My family bought it hook,
line,
and sinker. Mom's casseroles replaced by grief counseling. My brother Jake's voicemails a litany of "Why didn't I see it?"
But I saw. Oh, I saw.
The hidden secrets unraveled like a pulled thread.
Evelyne's accident?
No skid marks on that icy back road. Whispers from her driver about a rival XX grudge. And the embezzlement? It traced deeper. Derek and Lila weren't just skimming. They'd funneled funds to sabotage Voss Automotive's rival bids. A corporate espionage op that could topple empires. I was the scapegoat. The disposable asset in their chess game. Power like that corrupts absolutely. And Derek, he was the kingpin. Lila his queen. Both drunk on the throne they'd stolen from me. Revenge brewed slow. A pot of gumbo on a Louisiana stove, spicy, simmering, inevitable. I started small. As Evelyn, I audited Sterling's books under the guise of a synergy partnership. Hired PIs with Voss cash. Dug into Derek's emails, late-night confessions to Lila about the bitch finally out of the picture. Controversial decisions? The first came when I slept with Derek's protege, a slick Harvard boy named Trent, just to whisper doubts in his ear about the boss's instability. Watching Trent torpedo a deal that cost Derek $250,000, it tasted like justice. Bitter as black coffee from a Coney Island dive. But the guilt gnawed. Was I becoming them? Swapping bodies hadn't changed the rot inside. It just gave it a prettier package. By month 3, the tension coiled like a spring in a '67 Mustang. Jake, my brother, the straight-arrow cop from the old neighborhood, all buzzcut and bad coffee, started sniffing around. He didn't buy the suicide narrative, called it too clean for Naomi. We'd grown up scrapping over the last pierogi at Mom's table. Him protecting me from bullies, me patching his skinned knees. Blood's thicker, they say, but betrayal thins it fast. He showed up at a Voss charity auction uninvited, badge flashing under his tuck sleeve. "Evelyn Voss," he drawled, cornering me by the silent bid paddles. You look familiar. Like my sister, minus the laugh lines. I played coy, champagne flute trembling in my grip, but his eyes, those cop eyes, pierced the facade. That's when the real game began. I fed him crumbs, anonymous tips about Sterling's irregularities, routed through burners bought at a Detroit gas mart. He bit. Hard raids on dummy core. Subpoenas flying like confetti at a Tigers World Series parade. Derek caught wind. Paranoia setting in, he fired off frantic texts to Lila. Your cop brother's onto us. Handle it. Handle it? Like they handled me? The decision that crossed the line. I doxed Lila's side gig. Turns out, she was laundering through a string of OnlyFans knockoffs. Empowering content that skirted the edges of revenge porn laws. Leaked it to the society pages. Watched her empire crackle like bacon in a cast-iron skillet. Controversial? Hell yes. Feminists called it betrayal of sisterhood. I called it payback for the sister who sold me out. The climax built like a nor'easter off Lake Superior, winds howling, waves crashing. I orchestrated the boardroom showdown at Sterling's annual summit, posing as Evelyn Voss, concerned investor. PowerPoint slides I'd slaved over in Evelyn's sun-drenched library laid bare the fraud, wire transfers time-stamped to Derek's VPN, Lila's fingerprints on forged invoices. The room, a sea of Brooks Brothers suits and pearl necklaces, erupted in murmurs as I clicked to the final slide, a grainy security cam still of Derek and Lila in the lab that night, wheeling my gurney toward the transference chamber. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, voice steady as a .45. Evelyn's poise masking Naomi's fire. This isn't just theft. It's murder of identity, of trust, of everything we build in this city of reinvention. Derek lunged, face purple as a bruised plum. You bitch. What the hell is this? Security dragged him out. Lila hyperventilating in the corner. Mascara rivers down her cheeks. Jake burst and then, cuffs at the ready. His eyes locking on mine, not Evelyn's, but mine. Naomi, he breathed. The pieces slamming home. The water throwing came later. At that forced family reconciliation dinner Mom insisted on. Post-arrests. Jake, raw and raging, couldn't contain it, the lie, the swap, the years we'd lost. How long, he demanded. And in that splash, the dam broke. But revenge? It hollows you out like a gutted whitetail. Derek and Lila rotted in Wayne County lockup, awaiting trial, federal charges stacking like cordwood, fraud, conspiracy, even manslaughter if the DA pinned the suicide staging. I reclaimed my name, body reversal a pipe dream lost in red tape. But Evelyn's life? It fit like a glove, too tight, philanthropy galas, therapy sessions unpacking imposter syndrome. Jake and I rebuilt. Slow as repaving Michigan Avenue. Awkward beers at Slow's barbecue. Confessions over Coney dogs. Mom? She baked pies and pretended it was all a bad dream. Yet the twist, the one that keeps me up, staring at Evelyn's ceiling fan whirring like Judgment Day, hit in the appeals hearing. Derek's lawyer, a shark from some DC firm, dropped the bomb. Recordings from the lab. Time-stamped pre-procedure. My voice. Slurred but clear. Do it. Swap me out. I can't face the fall. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Jake's hand went slack in mine.
Had I?
In the sedative fog. Desperation clawing, yes.
Ide whisperat consent.
A coward's bargain to escape the shame. Or had they doctored it? The truth inverted. Victim or volunteer. Accomplice in my own undoing?
Now.
As snow dusts the magnificent mile, and another holiday looms. I weigh it all. Justice served, or just another American tragedy, where the powerful walk free on technicalities, and the swapped souls wander. Ghosts in tailored wool. Debate it if you will, hero. Villain.
Fool. Me?
I'm just Naomi. Or Evelyn. Piecing together the shards. One controversial choice at a time. And if the phone rings with Derek's collect call from the inside, I'll answer. Lies have short leashes. The days blurred after the splashdown at Mom's table. Each one a tightrope walk over the abyss of what I'd become. Evelyn Voss's world was a gilded treadmill, mornings in her walk-in closet the size of my old living room, rifling through racks of cashmere that whispered privilege with every swish. I'd stare at the tags, Chanel.
Thor.
Labels that screamed, not Naomi, and wonder if this was revenge or just a prettier prison. Detroit hummed outside. A gritty symphony of horns and hydraulics, but inside, tension coiled like the suspension on a lowrider cruising 8 Mile. Jake's accusation hung in the air, a wet ghost on my skin, forcing me to confront the lie I'd worn like a second skin. I dove deeper into the unraveling. Evelyn's resources, my Excalibur. Her family fortune traced back to the Model T era. Voss men wheeling and dealing with the big three while the unions bled. But Evelyn? She'd been the wild card, philanthropist with a nose for dirt, funding NGOs that exposed corporate sins. Ironic, then, that her body now housed a woman hell-bent on the same. I hired Marcus, a fixer from the Cass corridor. Ex-con with a Rolodex of hackers and hitmen for hire, the metaphorical kind. I wasn't crossing into Federal's territory yet. What you need? Miss Voss, he'd rasped over burner phones. Voice like gravel under snow tires.
Truth, I said.
The kind that buries bastards. Marcus delivered in drips. Flash drives slipped under my doorman's nose. Dossiers thicker than a Bible Belt phone book. Derek's startup? A front for Voss sabotage, poison pills and bids. Hacked prototypes that caused recalls, killing 3 workers on an Alabama line. My stomach turned, those faceless souls. Their blood on my ledgers. I'd signed off. Blind faith my ink. Lila's role? The spider in the web, seducing execs for intel. Her friendship, with me the perfect cover. Deep betrayal. Yes. But laced with pity, we'd bonded over wine nights. Swapping stories of dead-end dreams. She'd called me sister while plotting my erasure. The controversial calls mounted. First, I ghosted Mom's calls, letting voicemails pile like unpaid bills. Evelyn?
No.
Honey, it's Naomi's mom.
Just.
Checking in. Each beep a knife twist. Couldn't risk her hearing my voice. Too raw. Too Midwestern. Instead, I sent flowers. Cards signed thinking of you. Evelyn's flourish masking my scrawl. Full? To let her grieve a daughter who walked the earth in another's shoes? But exposure meant Jake's badge turning on me. The swap's illegality a one-way ticket to black-side oblivion. America, where science fiction becomes felony overnight. Then Trent, the protégé ploy escalated. After bedding him in Evelyn's king-size sleigh, silk sheets sliding like lies. I didn't stop at whispers. I framed him lightly, planted a USB in his desk. Evidence of insider trading that pointed to Derek but singed Trent's tail. He flipped like a politician at a fundraiser, spilling to the SEC in a plea deal. Watching Derek's empire crack from the Voss box seats at Ford Field, him ranting in the luxury suite about disloyal pups, it was catharsis. Dark and delicious as Motor City moonshine. But the mirror lied back. Evelyn's reflection smirked. A stranger's triumph that made her stomach roil.
Was this power?
Or just the poison I'd inhaled? Jake circled closer, his cop instincts a bloodhound on the scent. He tailed me to a coffee klatch at Atlas, the hipster haunt where Evelyn sipped out lattes with socialites. I spotted him through the steam-fogged window, nursing Black Joe in a booth, notebook peeking from his coat. Heart hammering like AV8 at Redline, I slipped out the back, texting Marcus, eyes on me. Shake it. That night, a random mugging in Corktown staged, shadows grabbing my purse, Jake swooping in like Dirty Harry. Gratitude in his eyes as he handed it back. You okay, Miss Boss? Looked like you needed a guardian angel. I played the damsel, fluttering lashes over Naomi's fire. Thank you, detective. You're a hero. Inside, the lie festered, using my brother as bait, risking his career for my vendetta. Controversial? Understatement. It was fratricide of the soul. Secrets buried deeper emerged like bodies from the river mud. Evelyn's accident file. Pried from sealed PD records. Brake lines cut. Not worn. Suspect? Harlan Voss. Her uncle. A silver-haired shark who'd clawed the family biz from her father's grave. He'd wanted her out, the heiress blocking his merger with Sterling. Derek knew. Emails showed him tipping Harlan for a cut of the spoils. The web tightened. My swap wasn't random salvation. It was orchestrated disposal. They chose Evelyn's body because it solved two problems, erasing me, resurrecting their ally's prize. The antagonist incarnate, Harlan, with his Wall Street polish and DC pull, a man who lunched with senators and dined on the dreams of the working stiffs. I confronted the ghost of my old life at a dive bar off Woodward, the kind where jukebox blues wail over spilled Pabst. Derek showed, unshaven and desperate, slipping my booth like a confessor. Naomi, God, it's you. In her skin. This ends now. His hand across the scarred formica. Pleading. I let him talk, Lila cracking under pressure, threatening to sing unless he bailed her out. We can fix it,
Babe.
Harlan's got connections. Reverse the tech.
Get you back.
Lies. All of it. But I played along. Ordering whiskeys neat. The decision. Spike his glass with a roofie from Marcus's kit, not lethal. Just enough to loosen tongues. As he slurred confessions, Harlan's orders. The lab payoffs. My consent, forged in post-hypnotic suggestion. The recorder in my clutch word. Evidence. Damning as a Nixon tape. Dawn broke bloody over the Detroit River as I ditched him in an alley. Cab peeling out toward the Voss Tower. Adrenaline crashed like waves on Belle Isle, leaving me hollow. Revenge's high was fleeting. A sugar rush from a Coney Island slushie, sweet, then sick. Jake texted, dinner at Mom's Sunday. No excuses. The trap closing. I paced Evelyn's balcony. Wind whipping hair that wasn't mine, contemplating the jump they said I'd taken. But surrender? Not in my blood. Hargrove grit.
Forged in Rust Belt winters.
The summit loomed. My magnum opus. Rehearsals in Evelyn's library. Slides honed. Accent practiced. Evelyn's was Park Avenue clipped. Mine bled Chicago vowels. Marcus wired the room. Bugs in the dais flowers. Lila cornered me pre-event in the ladies' lounge. Her Botox face a mask of fury. You think you're clever.
Naomi?
Harlan knows. He'll bury you deeper than your old corpse. Threat laced with fear. Good. I smiled Evelyn's smile. All teeth. Bury me? Honey, I'm the one with the shovel. As she stormed out, heels clicking like cocked hammers, I felt the noose, Harlan's power. A hydra with heads in every boardroom from here to Silicon Valley. Sunday dinner arrived like a subpoena. Mom's colonial in Berkeley. Turkey scent wafting from the oven. Jake's cruiser in the drive. I showed as Evelyn, charity friend of Naomi's, the cover story a flimsy bandage. Conversation danced around the grave, Mom's eyes misty over pie. Jake's jaw set like concrete. Then it snapped, the water arcing. His roar. Live the lie no more. Forks frozen. Mom sobbed the soundtrack. I bolted. Rain-slick streets blurring taillights. Evelyn's Beamer hydroplaning toward destiny. The truth? It was out. Raw and raging. No turning back. But Harlan? He waited in the wings. A shadow with teeth. As sirens wailed distant, Jake's backup. Perhaps the phone buzzed. Unknown number. Miss Voss, a voice like oiled leather. We need to talk. Your little play? It's check. Not checkmate. Game on. The call from Harlan pulled me into the underbelly of power, where deals are struck in cigar smoke and whispers, far from the fluorescent accountability of a 9-to-5. I met him at the Whitney, Detroit's old auto baron mansion turned museum, ironic venue for a man who'd built his throne on the bones of innovation. He lounged in the Rivera court, Diego's murals of hammered flesh looming like accusations, a tumbler of bourbon sweating on the marble edge. Evelyn, or should I say Naomi, he drawled, silver cufflinks glinting under crystal chandeliers. No shock in his eyes, just the bored appraisal of a man who'd seen empires rise and fall like hemlines.
He said.
Evelyn's posture ramrod straight, heart thundering a Motown beat. Harlan, you knew about the swap. It wasn't a question. Marcus's digs had unearthed texts, Harlan greenlighting the lab op. Derek his errand boy. He chuckled, low and liquid. Knew? Darling, I funded it. Evelyn was problematic. Always sniffing where she shouldn't. My little mergers. The China plays. Your husband? A useful idiot. But you and her skin? Poetic. Keeps the stock price steady while we clean house. Betrayal layered like sedimentary rock. Not just Derek and Lila, but a cabal. Harlan the puppet master with strings to Washington. He offered a deal over small plates of foie gras, absurdly tender for a city of Connies. Walk away. Take Evelyn's life as a gift, and he'd quash the probes. Reverse the swap with black market tech. Or, he added, forking a morsel. Pursue this folly, and I'll ensure Detective Hargrove's career ends in scandal. Your mother's house? Foreclosed by morning. The threat landed like a sucker punch at a lion's tailgate. Personal. Profane. Controversial choice. Accept and betray my quest. Or double down. Risking all? I feigned consideration. Swirling Cabernet. Then accidentally knocked his glass. Burgundy staining his Armani slacks. Oops. I purred. Evelyn's lilt masking Naomi's snarl. Looks like the wine's turned. I left him cursing. But sleep evaded, nights tangled in Egyptian cotton. Dreams of bridges and Blackwater. Jake's fallout festered. He hammered my door at 3 a.m. Badge off. Breath reeking of Jack. Talk.
Naomi. Now.
We paced Evelyn's living room. City lights casting long shadows like fingers accusing. I spilled it all, the swap. The fraud. Harlan's web. His face cycled shock to fury to a weary cop's resignation. You're in deep shit.
Sis.
This tech? It's Schedule 1 Black Ops. Feds will dissect you like a frog in bio class. But Blood 1, he vowed backup. Off books. Wiretaps on Harlan. Tails on Lila's bail hearings. Brother-sister pact renewed. Fragile as Rice Krispies in milk. The plot thickened with Evelyn's ghosts. Her diaries, leather-bound tomes in a safe behind Rothko prints, chronicled the sabotage, Harlan's hit on her brakes, Derek's complicity for a board seat. One entry gutted me. Naomi's the only friend who sees me. Not the money. We'd met at a women's networking brunch, bonding over imposter vibes, heiress and accountant, both faking it in man world. She'd confided suspicions. I dismissed them as paranoia.
Now.
Her words ink-stained my guilt. I'd borne the fall for her enemies. My crime her unspoken plea for help. Secrets chiseled deeper, carving canyons in my resolve. Lila struck next. A venomous text from a ghost account. Miss me? Ev Naomi? Check your email. Attached. Deepfakes me. As Evelyn. In compromising trysts with Trent. Harlan. Even Jake. AI wizardry turning coffee chats pornographic. Blackmail gold. Timed for the summit. Back off. Or these go viral. Me Too on steroids. Her moxie. Twisted from sorority prankster to cyber media. I laughed. Dark and defiant, called Marcus, who looped in a white hat from Ann Arbor. We flipped the script, traced the fakes to her IP. Embedded trackers that lit up her device like a Christmas tree. Counterstrike. Flooded her feeds with her own leaks, bank statements tying her to Harlan slush. Captioned Girl Boss Gone Bad. Social media lynching ensued. Influencers piling on. Her brand torched like a burnout on Jefferson. But Harlan? He played chess while we played checkers.
Summit Eve.
A Voss courier delivered a package. My old locket. The one with Mom's photo. Engraved Forever Naomi. Inside, a note. Leverage.
Dear.
Proceed. And she burns. The photo, digitized, morphed into child porn deepfakes, timestamped to my old email. Diabolical, power's ultimate flex. Weaponizing innocence. I shattered a vase. Shards like my fracturing sanity. Called Jake? He'd storm in. Guns blazing. Career suicide. Mom? Shield her. Lie harder. The decision scorched. Go nuclear. Expose all. Damn the fallout. Revenge's cost? Collateral in the crossfire. Summit day dawned crisp. October chill nipping at exposed ankles as I helicoptered in. Evelyn's perk. Rotors chopping the skyline like judgment. The Renaissance ballroom buzzed. Execs in power ties. Waitstaff gliding with shrimp cocktail. Derek cornered me pre-keynote. Wild-eyed. Suit rumpled. Harlan's cutting me loose. Lila's flipped, testifying against us for immunity. Desperation dripped. He grabbed my arm. Bruises blooming under silk. Help me.
Naomi.
For old times. Old times? The pier. The vows? I twisted free. Hissing. Old times died in that lab. Security peeled him off. But his plea lingered. A worm in the apple. The presentation ignited like dry tinder. Slides projected empires crumbling. Harlan's mergers as money launders. Derek's signatures on kill orders. Gasps rippled. Phones buzzed with leaks I'd pre-dropped to Bloomberg embeds. Then Harlan rose. Silver Foxcom. Microphone commandeering. Lies from a ghost in our machine. He unveiled his counter. The consent recording.
My voice damning.
Chaos. Board members bolting. Lawyers swarming. Jake's team breached then. Vests black as midnight. Cuffing Derek mid-snarl. Lila, in the wings, sobbed as feds Mirandized her. Harlan slipped the net, vanishing into an elevator. My triumph, Pyrrhic. Post-melee, Jake hugged me fierce in the lobby, whispering, "Got him on tape." Feds are en route. Relief flooded. Warm as summer ale at a Tigers doubleheader. But as confetti of shredded NDAs swirled, my phone chimed, "Harlan, nice try. But Evelyn's breaks? My gift to you." The photo attached Mom's house. Flames licking the colonial siding.
No.
Sirens wailed anew. The real war? Just beginning. Flames devoured Mom's house like a demon's hunger. The night sky over Berkeley painted orange and accusatory. I raced there in Evelyn's Jag, tires screaming on wet leaves. Jake's cruiser tailing with lights flashing silent. The fire crew battled valiantly, hoses snaking like pythons, axes biting into the eve, but it was futile. The old girl, with her gingerbread trim and memory-soaked walls, crumbled to ash by midnight.
Mom.
Safe at a neighbor's, clutched her robe, face ashen. Arson, Jake confirmed later, sifting embers with gloved hands. Accelerant trail from the garage. Harlan's calling card, the bastard's reach, a match to our roots. Burning the hearth I'd fought to avenge. Grief hardened to resolve. Diamond from coal. We relocated Mom to a safe house in Ferndale, cozy bungalow. Rent from Voss coffers, while Jake pulled strings for protection. This ends, he growled over takeout foe. Broth steaming like our tempers. Feds want you in protective custody.
Naomi.
The swap's a national security wet dream. No, custody meant labs. Probes. My body a lab rat for Uncle Sam's spooks. I'm Evelyn now, I countered, chopsticks stabbing a tendon. Let me wield it, packed sealed. Jake feeds intel. I strike from the penthouse. Brother and sister. Outlaws in a land of laws. Harlan's empire was a fortress, Voss Tower. A steel monolith piercing the clouds, guarded by NDAs and non-competes. I infiltrated as kin, invoked Evelyn's shares for an emergency board call. Agenda, succession planning. The limo ride-up was a funeral procession. Cities shrinking below like discarded dreams. Boardroom, walnut expanse, views to Canada. Suits sweating under my gaze. Harlan's abdicated, I announced. Voice Evelyn's velvet over Naomi's steel. Fraud allegations demand new blood. Murmurs, a proxy war erupted, loyalists versus reformers. I nominated myself interim CEO. Controversial as a vegan at a Detroit steakhouse, heiress with no qualms. But the dead one's return? PR gold. Victory tasted metallic, laced with paranoia. Harlan retaliated swift, leaks to the free press, Voss airs mental break, deepfakes of Evelyn ranting in asylums. Stock dipped. Vultures circling. I countered with pressers. Evelyn's charm disarming reporters. Resilience is Voss DNA. Behind scenes, Marcus hacked Harlan's yacht logs, Caribbean escapes, numbered accounts in Cayman. But the man? Elusive. A specter in pinstripes. Lila, from her cell, smuggled a note via Jake's contact. Harlan's got the reversal code. Lab server. Sublevel 7. But booby-trapped. Her redemption play? Or trap? Trust her. The woman who'd wheeled me to oblivion?
Dicey.
But desperation's a hell of a motivator. The raid was pure heist flick. Jake's off-duty crew. Black, tactical, breaching Sterling's bowels at 2 a.m. Rain lashed like whips, thunder masking our boots. I insisted on going, Evelyn's keycard my skeleton key. Hallways sterile, humming with ghosts, the lab, a crypt of blinking consoles and cryotubes. There, Lila's tip pointed, a server rack. LEDs pulsing like a heartbeat. Marcus jacked in, code cascading green. Then alarms, klaxons wailing, gas hissing from vents. Trap, Jake yelled, dragging me as fumes clawed lungs. We stumbled out. Server fried, but a USB snatched. Files on the swap protocol. Harlan's sigils all over. Decoding in a safe house motel, neon flickering, vacancy, like a bad omen, revealed the rot's core. The tech? DARPA prototype. Harlan's pet project for elite continuity. Uploading oligarch minds to younger vessels. Immortality for the 1%. My swap? Test run. Derek the mule. Lila the lore. Evelyn's accident. Collateral. Her mind archived. Waiting upload. Twist. She wasn't dead. Consciousness trapped in digital limbo. A ghost in the machine. Horror chilled. I'd worn her corpse. Her screams echoing unheard. I wept then. Naomi's tears in Evelyn's ducks. Jake's arm heavy around shoulders, not his sister's. Armed with proof, we torched Harlan's world. Leaks to WikiLeaks mirrors. ProPublica embeds. Vossgate trended. Congressional hearings subpoenaing suits. Derek, from county, testified remotely. Harlan orchestrated it all. I was scared of losing everything. His mea culpa, broadcast on CNN, humanized the monster. Viewers debated online, fallen hero or snitch. Lila walked with time served. Her book deal pending. Betrayed. A sister's reckoning. Schadenfreude soured. She'd spun victim. Me the vengeful specter. Harlan surfaced at a neutral ground, his club on Mackinac Island. Ferry chugging through Straits mist. I arrived solo. Evelyn's seersucker crisp. .38 tucked in garter, controversial? In Michigan. Concealed carries gospel. He waited on the veranda. Pipe smoke curling like confessions. You win.
Girl.
Code's yours. Reverse and resume your drab little life. But his eyes?
Hungry.
Or stay. Boss Queen. My protege. Power. Real power. Temptation slithered. Evelyn's throne. Harlan's dark tutelage. No more Naomi's ledgers. Just empires at my whim. The choice clawed. Embrace the shadow. Or burn it.
Ichos
Your world's ash, I said, sliding the USB across teak. Feds have the rest. As he lunged for it, I fired. Warning shot. Splintering rail. He froze. Pipe clattering. Mercy, he spat.
No.
Justice. Cops swarmed, Jake's tip-off, cuffing the Titan as gulls wheeled mocking. Boat back to mainland. Waves rocking. I exhaled. Revenge's climax, not blood, but breakage, the mighty humbled. Secrets scorched. But elation ebbed. Mom rebuilt in a condo, baking for neighbors. But her eyes held questions. Jake proposed a cabin up north, family reset. I demurred. Evelyn's duties called board votes. Press tours. The lie lingered. A third wheel. Then the mail. Manila envelope. No return. Inside. A drive. Evelyn's voice. Archived. Naomi, if you hear this, forgive me. I knew about Harlan. Set you up as bait. Save yourself. Inversion. She'd engineered the fall, using me to expose him. Hero or Judas? Debate fodder. Endless. Waves lapped. Ferry docking. Home? Which one? The revelation from Evelyn's archive hit like a recall on a faulty airbag, sudden, explosive, shredding the narrative I'd clung to like a life vest in the straits. Back in the penthouse. Drive plugged into Evelyn's MacBook. Her voice filled the room, crisp, cultured, laced with regret. Naomi, if you're hearing this, Harlan's won the first round. I confided in you at brunch, his schemes, but you laughed it off. Desperate, I fed Derek crumbs, knowing he'd bite. The swap? My Hail Mary, your mind in my body to testify from safety. Forgive the deception. It was for us both. Static crackled. Then silence, heavier than the Mackinac fog. Betrayal inverted, not victim entire, but pawn in her grander game. Evelyn, the true architect, using my trust, my marriage's fractures, to bait the trap. Deep, oceans deep. I'd borne her sins as mine, the embezzlement her forged trail to lure Harlan's ire. Secrets upon secrets, layered like Detroit's abandoned Packard plant, ruins hiding horrors. Did it absolve Derek? Lila? No. They danced the devil's jig willingly. But me? Complicit in ignorance. Or blind by choice. The mirror, Evelyn's flawless facade, mocked back. A stranger wearing my scars. Jake took it stoic over diner eggs. Yolks runny as spilled truths. Doesn't change shit, he grunted. Forking hash. Harlan's caged. Empire crumbling. You did that. But his eyes, cop's eyes, held the debate. Vigilante justice in a body snatch saga. Constitutional or cautionary.
Mom.
Over chamomile at her new place. Squeeze my hand, Evelyn's manicure chipping. Whoever you are now, you're my girl. Lies or not. Her grace. A balm, yet nights. I paced. Ghosts whispering, Evelyn's laugh from brunch. Derek's I love you on the pier. Lila's wine-fueled confessions. Fractured family. Reforged in fire, stronger? Or just seamed with cracks? The aftermath unfolded in headlines and hearings. Voss stock rebounded under Evelyn's stewardship, green initiatives, worker co-ops, PR spins on resurrection. Controversial? Board purists cried unqualified interloper. Unions hailed the people's heiress. I navigated minefields, Senate testimony. Voice modulated to Evelyn's timbre. Dodging swap queries with proprietary tech dodges. Harlan's trial dominated RICO charges. Witnesses flipping like pancakes at a Waffle House. Derek took the stand, gaunt in orange jumpsuit, painting Harlan the Moloch, himself the misguided acolyte. Naomi, Evelyn, she exposed us. Hero. Juries ate it, he got 10. Lila 5 with good behavior. Mercy? Or manipulation? Pundits raged on Fox and MSNBC. Corporate redemption arc or con artist's coda. Reversal beckoned. Black market docs. Harlan's code decrypted by Marcus's nerds. Procedure scheduled in a Reno clinic neutral ground. Nevada's anything goes vibe. Jake drove me. Heartland highways blurring past cornfields and casinos. You sure? He asked. Radio humming Springsteen. Evelyn's life. It's yours now. Temptation tugged. Powers rush. The penthouse views. Influence bending policy, like rebar. Naomi's old world? Mothballed. A Grosse Pointe house sold. Max rehomed to Jake. But the swap scar, neural echoes. Evelyn's memories bleeding in, her father's funeral. First boardroom win. The break line dread.
Stay.
And I'd honor her, return, and bury her forever. The clinic was no frills, stucco bunker. Hum of generators. Strapped down again. For pricking vein. Docs in masks murmuring metrics. Ready, the lead asked. Eyes kind behind goggles. I nodded. Throat tight. Blackness swirled. Memories montage. Water splash. Flames. Harlan's cufflinks. Woke to beeps. Mirror revealing, Naomi. Crow's feet. Dark roots showing. My laugh lines etched deep. Home. Re-entry Jared like jet lag from hell. Mom's hug. Bone crushing. Jake's back slap. Welcome back.
Sis.
But Detroit felt alien. 8 miles grit sharper. Connie's greasier. I tempied at a nonprofit. Auditing grants. Evelyn's polish peeling to Naomi's calluses. Derek wrote from prison letters contrite, begging forgiveness. I loved you. Always. The lie consumed us. Burn them. Ashes in the river. Lila? Paroled early. Vanished to L.A. Tell-all whispers fading. The twist's echo lingered. Evelyn's upload option. Code intact. One night. Drive in hand. Cursor hovering. Resurrect her? In a clone. A willing host? Ethical quagmire. Sci-fi sin. I smashed it. Shards glinting like broken vows. Let her rest. Her war won through me. Ending? Debatable as a recount in a swing state. Happy. Harlan jailed. Family mended. Me free in my skin. Volunteering at women's shelters. Trading audits for advocacy. Tragic. The swap's void. Love's lost. Power's siren's song silenced. Controversial. Vigilante wins. But at what cost? Deepfake scars. Families fractured. Ethics eviscerated?
Now.
Holidays at Jake's cabin. Snow blanketing the Huron shore. We toast marshmallows. Stories spinning tall. Mom laughs. Pie crust flaky. Jake ribs my fancy vocab Evelyn's ghost.
Me?
I watch the aurora, rare southern lights, dancing like swap souls. Lie lived? No more. Truth's weight? Lighter than revenge's chains. But if the phone rings, anonymized, Harlan's ilk from the shadows, I'll answer. America's unfinished symphony. Tension eternal. Drama undimmed.
Who's the villain now?
You decide.